Cult of the Lamb is a dark yet adorable indie roguelike game developed by Massive Monster and is available to play on Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. With a blend of morbid yet charming and adorable gameplay, you'll create a cult, accumulate followers, and take down the old gods to repay a life debt. Your story begins as a scared, innocent lamb, the last of your kind, that's about to be sacrificed to prevent an age-old prophecy. As your life is abruptly ended, a dark figure revives you, and as repayment you must start a cult in his name, gain power, and use that power to take down the old god so that he may be revived. So you'll save other helpless animals, build up your cult, care for your new followers, and ultimately become an all-powerful lamb. It's a really unique story and quite unlike any others I've played before. Also, just a quick side note, if you find this review helpful, feel free to subscribe. I post reviews here every single week and I play a wide variety of video games. So the two different elements that come together to make Cult of the Lamb include the roguelike dungeon crawler aspect with the addition of base building. You'll end up with this sort of loop that has you exploring and fighting in these procedurally generated dungeons and then returning back to your base where you'll gain skills, join new followers, and build up your cult. If you've ever been fortunate enough to play The Binding of Isaac, the dungeon crawler aspect of Cult of the Lamb is incredibly similar to that game. It has the same sort of fast-paced, addictive nature that makes the game very hard to put down. You'll travel through these small randomly generated maps, fighting enemies and collecting rewards. In Cult of the Lamb, as the game centers around killing the 4 old gods, you'll have 4 areas to make your way through, each with its own sort of theme and different monsters and loot. For each area, you'll need to defeat 3 mini-bosses before you'll be able to face off with one of the old gods. Once you defeat an old god, the next area will unlock. I found this system worked really well, and where in other roguelike dungeon crawlers I'd normally get quite bored because the nature of the game is just so repetitive, I didn't get that here. The combat system is intuitive and extremely satisfying, and it just feels really good. I also felt very rewarded during each run through as I constantly got chests filled with heaps of loot, and defeating any of the bosses rewards you with really good items, so it never felt like a chore to go back into these dungeons. Where Cult of the Lamb is set apart from other similar games is the base building aspect that is also connected with this dungeon crawler aspect. So in these dungeons you'll need to collect lumber, stone, food, and new followers, and different routes you take through these areas will determine what kind of loot you will get. Back at your base, here you'll get a large area to dedicate to your cult. You'll need to satisfy the need of your cultists and assign them various tasks, from gathering resources or even praying at your altar so that you can unlock new abilities and rituals. Your cult members are where you get your powers from, so it's important to keep them happy. As they pray at your altar, you can use this to upgrade your cult and unlock new facilities that will either get you more resources or more power. In your own dedicated temple, you can conduct sermons that will allow you to upgrade what kind of weapons and power you'll have access to when you're off into the dungeons. In return for all of this, you'll need to feed your cultists, ensure the area is clean, keep their faith in you high enough, and gain their friendships. Earning these friendships will also unlock new rituals that can do a variety of things, from marrying your cult members, having food parties, and so on. One thing I really liked is the freedom to decide what kind of leader you want to be. You can rule through kindness, offering your cultists time off, or teaching them the importance of friendships, or you can brainwash them, threaten them, sacrifice them, and so on. Every action you take, from burying dead cultists, cooking different types of food, or even putting people in jail, all have certain consequences within your cult, whether that be positive or negative. Your cultists each have their own traits that determine how they may react to certain actions that you do, and they'll also ask you for favors from time to time, which is an excellent way to sort of break up that constant cycle of base building and dungeon crawling. They might ask you to collect them a resource, or even play a prank on another unsuspecting cult member by making them eat poop. Unfortunately for one of my cult members, he was the subject of this prank many times. I highly recommend you name your cult members, as it makes all of these sort of interactions all the more funny. While the base building may seem easy, it can be a bit of a juggling act with having enough food and getting enough stone and lumber to both repair existing buildings or to make new ones. This certainly gets easier as you progress, but it can be quite the struggle during your first few hours. There are also several other areas that you can explore that offer some other tasks, such as fishing, card games, and some various shops. Also, just to add on here, the game did get a little bit laggy the more I filled out my cult. I played this one on the Nintendo Switch, so if you're kind of on the fence about what console to buy it on, I would probably choose the Switch last. It wasn't too bad, but it definitely got noticeable near the end. Cult of the Lamb combines a dark and creepy game theme with these adorable and cute characters that creates this really unique looking game. The movements are fluid and quick, giving this incredibly satisfying and addictive feel to the combat, and the audio here is just as good, complementing that dark yet cozy vibe of the game with really crisp sound effects that again just really add to that satisfying feel of the game. Cult of the Lamb is such a unique indie game that stands out with its blend of dark yet adorable themes. The story is interesting and clever, the gameplay is addictive, and it just feels really full and detailed. I'm not always a fan of roguelike dungeon crawlers, but this one keeps it interesting with a mix of base building elements and a story that keeps you hooked, so I definitely recommend this to anyone, even if you're not normally into this type of game. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this review helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!